19-year-old Barbara Mae Tucker lived in Gresham, Oregon in 1980. She was a sophomore studying business at Mount Hood Community College. Barbara was last seen on the evening of January 15, 1980. She was on her way to a night class at a community college. Multiple witnesses who drove by saw Barbara running onto Kane Drive from the wooded area on the west edge of the campus. It appeared to the witnesses that she was waving at someone or trying to get people's attention, but no one stopped to help her. The next morning, a fellow student found Barbara's body in a wooded area of the campus. She had been assaulted. Her belongings were also found nearby. Another witness came forward, telling investigators that he saw an unknown man that led Barbara back to the campus against her will. Her family believed that she may have accepted a ride from someone because she would not have walked to class that cold, rainy night. Investigators collected DNA from the crime scene that belonged to an unknown male and stored it so that it could be used later. Unfortunately, decades went by without identifying a suspect. Barbara's father, Albert Tucker, passed away in 1989, and her mother, Louise Tucker, passed away in 1995, without learning who took their daughter's life. Investigators from the Gresham Police Department recently contacted C.C. Moore from Parabon and Labs to absolve the case. Parabon makes use of genetic genealogy. It is a process where an unknown suspect's DNA left at a crime scene can be identified by his or her family members who voluntarily submitted their DNA to a genealogy database. This allows investigators to create a much larger family tree than if they were limited to using law enforcement databases such as CODIS. Using this process, investigators discovered that the unknown male DNA found at a crime scene back in 1980 belonged to 59-year-old Robert Plimpton. On June 8, 2021, he was arrested from his home in Troutdale, Oregon. He is married and has a son. He is currently in custody at the Multnomah County Detention Center. At the time of the crime, Robert was 16 years old and in high school. Investigators found that he had quite a long criminal history. He was convicted of kidnapping in 1985 and served a 2.5-year sentence until 1987. He also served sentences for driving under the influence and parole violations. In 1997, he was also accused of assaulting a woman, but the case was dismissed. Investigators are also looking into the possibility that he could very well be responsible for more crimes. C.C. Moore from Parabon had this to say, "I have worked on hundreds of cases, but this case stuck with me unlike any others. I would wake up thinking about it and go to sleep still thinking about it. I'm so happy the family will get some answers, though I don't believe there's ever closure. But if he is convicted, there may be some justice." Barbara's siblings lost hope that the case would ever be solved. They were convinced that the person who took Barbara's life was deceased. They said that she will sadly never age past 19. She was almost 6 feet tall, strong and athletic. Her hair was light brown, her eyes a warm chocolate brown. She was outgoing, smart and determined. Barbara was the first one of her family to attend college, but sadly, she would never get to graduate. News of the arrest brought overwhelming emotions from her siblings. The extraordinary break in the case provides some comfort, but it has also reignited their grief. Someone brutally took her away from us when she was so young and went on living their life after. We want to see some justice, and we hope this is the right person. Norm Frink is now a retired chief for the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office. He recalls all the work that was put in to absolve the case. He also remembers how absolutely devastated Barbara's parents were and that they blamed themselves. "I only wish this had happened sooner, but the technology has evolved and fortunately there's finally been an arrest. It is a positive development and I'm just sorry that Barbara's parents did not live to see it." 15-year-old Julie Ann Hanson lived in Naperville, Illinois in 1972. She was described as a very personable and sweet girl. On July 7, 1972, Julie was last seen leaving home on her bicycle, heading to a baseball game. When she did not make it back home, her family got worried and called the police, informing them that Julie is missing. The next day, on July 8, Julie's body was found in a cornfield in Naperville. She had been assaulted and also stabbed close to 40 times. Investigators followed leads and questioned potential suspects, but they were not able to identify the man who committed the heinous crime. In 2020, investigators believed that Bruce Lindahl could be the man they are looking for. He was involved in a similar crime that I've covered on my channel before. Investigators tested his DNA, but it was not a match to the DNA of an unknown male that they collected from the crime scene in Julie's case. Finally, on June 9, 2021, investigators announced that they arrested 76-year-old Barry Lee Welpley in connection to the case. They said that his DNA matched the DNA found at a crime scene, but did not want to give any more information, as it could compromise their case against him. We do know that he was arrested at his home in Mounds View, Minnesota. At the time of the crime, he was 27 years old, worked as a welder, and lived less than a mile from where Julie lived. He is currently being held at the Will County Jail. His bond was set at $10 million. One of Barry's family members used a commercial DNA service to explore family history, and it led investigators to Barry after all of his years. Anyone with additional information regarding the investigation is encouraged to contact the Naperville Police Department at this number and ask for the Investigations Division. Naperville Police Chief Bob Marshall had this to say: "This horrific crime has haunted this family, this community, and this department for 49 years. The investigation and resulting charges were truly a team effort that spanned decades, and I could not be more proud of the determination and resourcefulness of our investigators, both past and present, who never gave up on Julie." Julie's parents had passed away, but other family members were grateful for the news.